Hello, and welcome back to Budget Bangers. Another purchase, and unfortunately, this one has not gone to plan. I'll show you around the car first, and then we'll talk about it. It's a 2007 Nissan Micra on a 56 plate. Now, for the age of the car, it's not a bad old thing. You know, you've got your little dents here and there, bit of dent there. Headlights need a good polish. Alloy wheels are mostly filthy. But all in all, stuff like this that happens over time. You could tidy that up quite nicely. You know, bit of cut and compound. You know, again another nice alloy. That's probably the worst of damage that you're going to get on it. But nothing to cry home about. It's a clean old car. Just wants, you know, a bit of TLC to bring it back. Dent there, scratches, you know, moss everywhere. Just a car that's been used and abused and unloved. Now, I put a video of this out on my TikTok channel, and my phone's been going ballistic over it. I woke up this morning to 100 notifications. It's just people, quite simply, not paying attention, not engaging their brains. Because I put a video out on TikTok of this, quite simply saying that I was annoyed because I bought it as an MOT failure for £200. Now, I've had this in the past on this channel as well, where I've bought cars as an MOT failure. I've done the work on them. I've took them from an MOT and they've still failed. At the end of the day, it is what it is. It differs in opinions. But this one took it to a whole new level. When I bought this car, run-of-the-mill, everyday stuff, didn't bother us on that MOT failure. As it was standing, I was going to have it with a full MOT with no advisories. And it wants a clutch in as well. The clutch is slipping. Now, I took it for a test drive. You know, didn't take it far because it did have quite a sketchy ball joint or two on the MOT failure, which those who know Nissans know that's nothing new. From the clutch was slipping. Also heard a wheel bearing noise on the back when I took it for a test drive. Now, benefit of the doubt, I thought, right, we'll get it in for an MOT. You know, it'd been a few days since it had been MOT'd. Quite simply, you know, wheel bearings. I've known it in the trade at times where the car's been MOT, passed through advisories, and then a week or two later, somebody's brought it in, complaining of a noise, and the wheel bearing started making a noise. They can go start making a noise with no warning whatsoever. But yeah, this one had 7 minors and 1 dangerous on it, which I didn't bother with. I thought to myself, I'll get it in for a test, you know, get a price of the clutch, and if it was going to be too expensive to get the clutch done, it'd go to the scrapyard. As simple as that. The price I was given for the clutch was absolutely astronomical. Personally, I think they've overquoted just because of the fact that they didn't want to do the job. I got quoted £410, including VAT, which I was thinking worst case £300. But it did have an advisory on oil leak on a rear main seal, which I can imagine they would have added in the price. And a lot of people, when they unbolt the flywheel, they want to change the flywheel bolts because they do have a tendency to stretch. So that could be why it was maybe overquoted for. In terms of the MOT work, it's where it starts taking a bit of a drastic turn. As I said, 7 minors, 1 dangerous. And then when I got it back, I got that, which there's differs in opinions. A lot of this stuff on here is schoolboy stuff, you know, stuff that anyone with half a brain cell can tell you isn't right. You know, stuff like wipers not clear in the window screen. You know, even just looking at how rusty that wiper is, I can tell you if the metal part of it's like that, the rubber part's not going to be very good. You know, stuff. And then you got stuff, simple stuff, position lamp not working. You know, that failed. It also failed on the light intensity of the side lights. There's how can you fail on that when you failed on the side light? It's daft. Brakes, failed on brakes. Never even mentioned the back brakes on his previous MOT. The wheel bearing, likely to overheat. It's a dangerous failure. So if I'd done the work, it still would have been a dangerous car. And then you got stupid stuff like lights, daft things like that. Light intensity, the headlights weren't polishing up. You know, and then you got the advisories. So in total it turns out 4 dangerous, 12 major, 3 minor, and 4 advisories. Now, people on TikTok, because people tend to be quite stupid on there apparently, seem to think that I was complaining that I bought a car for £200, was wanting it to be brand spanker. Never in a million years did I think that. Never in a million years did I want that. As we all know, the people who watch this channel regularly know that I buy these sorts of cars all the time. Saving these cars from the scrapyard is where I get my little buzz in life. You know, I would have quite happily have done the previous MOT work. I would have probably shopped around the fountain somewhere to do the clutch a bit cheaper. And possibly could have done the clutch myself. I think it had a concentric slave. I could have done it myself. It would have costed about 100 quid. But for those who know, doing a clutch on the floor with trolley jacks, not where you want to be in life. So yeah, but anyway, back to the car. If I can get this. The bad side was straight off the bat. It says minus 86,000 miles since its last service. None of these engines. Yeah, I'm assuming they would have had an oil change by then. Yeah. They're known for stretching the timing chain. The timing chain really quiet. I think I started it up. It'd been stood for a week or so, and it only had a little bit of a timing chain rattle. Not the end of the world. So we'll get it started up. And see, as quiet as it's ever gonna be. It's even got petrol in. If it wasn't such a death trap, I'd probably run around in it a little bit. But inside here, you know, apart from the fossilised chocolate bars and general rubbish, quite a tidy car. You know, centre console is probably the worst it gets. I think even in terms of previous owners, it's only had 4 former keepers. So it's not a bad car in a sense. It probably could have sold it relatively quick. The door card's missing. I did rob it off it because the lad who MOT has said he knows somebody who's after a door card for one. He said he'd give me the money for my MOT fee. I said, yep, no bother, you can have it. So I don't lose any money on it. So it is due to be collected and taken to scrap today, which, as I said, is a shame. You know, I could have made a car out of this. Sometimes these makers, I do tend to find they're not much of a good seller. They do struggle a bit. But even like in the boot, like pump space saver, you know, that's all out of shape, but you could have brought that back to life and gave it a good hoover. I'm disappointed because I'm not one for waste. If I buy a car, I do like to try and save them. you make more money out of them that way. Yeah. Even under the bonnet, like, if we have a look, it's when I find it, even under the bonnet, it's actually quite clean. You know, nothing to cry home about. There's the usual dirt and grime. They used to have a tendency to suffer from rot around the back of the headlights, which it's crusty, but I'm not poking through it, so that's alright. Yeah, it is what it is. Now, quite luckily, I'm still coming out of this with half a smile on my face. I didn't have any great expectations of it. But yeah, it's a shame. I could have put a test on and somebody could have got a good few years out of this. I've known these engines have a lot more miles on. But yeah, so let me know in the comments, what do you think? Am I being unreasonable to expecting that list there? Was I being unrealistic with it in thinking that, quite simply, that, you know, give you the test of the benefit of the doubt? Was my tester being too harsh? Personally, I know the lad that MOT'd it. He normally MOTs stuff like my truck. He usually gives us a bit of leeway with stuff. He isn't harsh in the slightest. He is quite laid back as an MOT tester. I even said to him, man, that is the biggest list I have ever had of it. I don't think I've ever had a list that big. Normally when he's MOTing my cars, he'll turn around and say, I've put a ticket on it, you need to put a side light bulb in and a set of wiper blades. Just stuff that it wouldn't be worth the time retesting. So I know them, and they know me, and they know that it'll get sorted. You know, if you turn around and said, oh, it's got a ticket on it, it wants a couple of bulbs, set of wiper blades, saves you bringing it back, then we'll do it. So they are quite lenient with stuff. So I've had a little look just to check, and you know, that's on the money. So I'm swaying more towards the fact that the other MOT tester who tested it originally is completely incompetent. So yeah, give your opinion. What do you think? Am I being unrealistic with it? Or am I being completely fair in my assumption that the previous MOT tester was absolutely useless? And yeah, I won't be selling this. It's already been arranged to be collected for the scrap. So yeah, leave your opinions in the comments down below, and let's see what you think. But yeah, you know the drill. Everything for my links will be in the description down below. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.